Oh yeah, so James has found an electric power steering pump for Lance out of a Holden Astra. We've been doing a bit of research on this, so we're gonna go and get it, but first I've got to get Lance going. I've killed a set of glow plugs in a very short space of time. I'm really not sure whether it's combustion temp that's killed them or the lithium battery's just got a fair bit of juice, so when you hit the key, the voltage doesn't pull down much with the lithium battery in there. So they are 8.5 volt plugs. We're going to put 10.5 volt plugs in them, but until then, let's start your bastard. So let's get him going. Alright, we'll give him a go first. I think I've still got 1 to 2 glow plugs working out of 6. So you can hear that one trying to fire. We'll just give those 2 glow plugs a hard time and try and get them hot enough. Glow, glow, glow. Okay, come on. No go. Righto. Righto, mate, you right?
Yeah.
Righto. Thanks, Bob. Where's the Bisley, mate? We're going to lose sponsorship.
Mate, I thought about it. That's why you're going to be on the film.
Holy hell, there's a bit of a rat's nest. Jesus.
Yes.
Mm.
So I'm going to cut all this wire. These wires. Do you want me to cut those wires or not?
Rip in, bud. As long as they got tails on them, it'll be right. Oh. Anyway, this is the Holden Astra. This would probably be the only part worth saving on a Holden Astra, even if it was brand new. They're absolute heaps of shit, these things. I've known a few guys that have had them as runabouts, and all they do is give you trouble. So hopefully the power steering pump holds up, but we'll see. All right, what do you want?
Well, so I'm just trying to get this wire here.
Oh, it is buried.
Yeah, there's one bolt down there and there's one here.
Yep.
I'm wondering if there's just 2. There might be 3. And we're just going to either that fit, like get rid of that hose clamp, and then maybe we can cut that one. And you can see why I didn't want to use the grinder. I just cut that out of there.
Yeah, well, being a petrol car, it's a bit risky. All right, well, you know what you want. I'll grab the tools for you.
It's probably a 14 mil.
14. I'll grab spanner, socket.
Socket. Yeah.
Socket. Can you fold this back?
No.
Huh?
No.
You can, look. Push it along. Well, it doesn't matter, does it? It's going to the records, isn't it?
Doesn't matter, but...
Is that one of the hoses? It is, yeah.
Yes, it is. That comes back up in here. That's it there.
Can you unbolt it from there?
No. But you want the hose, won't you?
Well, I'd say I'll have to get hoses made. And by the time we do all this, you could probably just buy 47 series power steering for $3 grand, and it'd probably save you the same price. No, it won't. It won't. The little one.
I did say, didn't I? Do you want that? Got everything. Got everything.
Oh, it's always the one you don't have. Why didn't you do it like that? It's easy.
You want a bracket?
James did all the groundwork, I'll give you that. Oh, well, the bracket should be easy to get at now.
That's right.
And must be down underneath it.
Ooh.
Still hard to get at, is it? Righto, So we got the power steering pump home, and it's time to really start hunting down an LN106 power steering box. You do have to make a custom bracket up for it, and there's a mob out there selling them. However, STS Garage doesn't buy things like that. We struggle and do it ourselves. So once I get the power steering box, that will be a nice little project, and I'm really only doing it so Megs can drive Lance a bit more, and maybe one day I can teach my daughter how to drive in it. So just make it a bit nicer for the whole family to use. So I'll put that aside for now. All 4x4 spares have sent me a new glow plug bus bar and some new glow plugs again, and a steering relay box to take some of the slop out of the steering in the meantime while we get the power steering box sourced and the bracket built for that. So I'll go ahead and put some new glow plugs in Lance. So they are 10.5 volt glow plugs as opposed to the 8.5 volt that were in it. I'm hoping that that lithium battery just having so much power has actually fried the 8.5s. In my head, 10.5s shouldn't pull as hard, and they're closer to the target 12 to 13 volts that that battery would hold when the glow plugs are on. So that's my way of thinking in theory. The other thing it can be is that the combustion temps are too high and it's killing those glow plugs, which can be caused by having oil in the combustion area, which we all know Lance probably does have. So this is a little bit of wishful thinking, hoping that these 10.5 volt plugs fix the problem, but they may not. We've got to try anyway. We've got to keep Lance on the road. So what I am going to do before I install these is go through with a multimeter and test them. Now they're supposed to have a resistance of 6 ohms or less. That's what research suggested. More to the point, if you can find one or two that are really quite different to the rest, usually that's enough to tell you that you've got an issue to start with. So we'll go through and see what these read at before we put them in. So if I ever pull them out again, I can test them and go, no, these were good when I put them in, what the hell's going on? Okay, so the ones I pulled out of Lance, the 8.5 volt ones, ranged from 6 to 40 to full open circuit. There were only two that were 5.9. So we're getting here a consistent 1.3, 1.4. That's 3 in that range. So that at least suggests to me that it'd be very rare if they were all buggered. Even if you didn't know what they were supposed to be, you'd know that, you know, if they're all the same, there's a good chance that they're all going to be okay. If you've got a few different, then they're the ones that are buggered, obviously. So what do we got here? And 1.3, 1.4 again. So we're looking good that we're going to have 6 fully functioning glow plugs for, I don't know how long though, that's the key. And hopefully the 10.5 volt ones will still work. Righto. One more to go. They're all within 0.01 of each other, which yeah, they're at least all healthy. The other ones were way all over the shop, so they were proper buggered. So just go and have a look through what we've got here. The other part I did receive was the steering idler. You can buy parts to rebuild the original. You can grease the original, but what happens normally is, because you only use that much of the steering, 90% of driving is, you know, generally in a straight line until you turn a sharp corner, then it really starts to move. So it's always sitting in the one spot more than the others. So it does wear out of round. So even though you can adjust it and tighten the steering up, as you start to steer the car, the steering gets tighter because this isn't round any longer, including the housing. The housing wears as well. That's why they do sell as a whole replacement. So it was about $180 for the whole thing, fully built, ready to put in the car. Makes sense just to replace the whole thing, hopefully alleviate that problem of the steering wandering, but also tightening as you turn the corner. That'll be flash. So all these parts obviously that I'm putting on this old motor that is quite worn, we will keep one day, and we won't replace them again obviously if we do rebuild the motor that's sitting down in the corner there. So look, we're not wasting money on an old motor. All these parts can be reused in a rebuilt motor one day. Hopefully we don't have to do that. We're still trying really hard to save Lance, and more to the point, the engine. So let's get these glow plugs in. Okay, it's probably hard to see in the video, but the different shape is what I'm concerned about. I don't think that's from too much voltage or too many amps. Anyway, I think that's just from getting hot. Right, so a good little test here we can do is we'll log into the Bluetooth on the battery, we'll hit glow and see what kind of amps that these glow plugs are now pulling. Before I took the old ones out, I did a test and we're pulling around 9 amps, which I reckon is only one glow plug working. So hopefully this has fixed the problem. So we'll hit the key and see what we're glowing at. It'll just take a second to get a reading. And 61 amps, righto. So we'll get rid of that now and we'll see if I can see the little glow indicator and then we'll kick her in the gut. So that's a massive difference, 61 amps to 9. So, you know, 9.6 is a 54. I smell a rat and I think we've killed the rat. I think it's gonna work. See if we can see a glow. One more go, we'll kick her in the gut. It's a bit odd that it's still rough when it's cold, which still suggests that one cylinder or two cylinders still aren't firing straight away on those glow plugs. So I don't think it's the glow plugs. It's obviously something not right there, not quite 100%. He's now starting without start your bastard, so go ahead and put this steering idler box in, try and make him steer a bit straighter. This is the story with just owning an old car and trying to daily drive it. There are going to be things that eventually will let you down, unless you go through and replace absolutely everything, which I think we all know how much that costs, and not everyone can achieve that. And STS Garage is no different, guys. So we'll replace it when it breaks, and in the meantime, still have fun with him. So tie rod ends like this normally have a tapered bolt into a tapered hole. And when you pull them up tight, they get really stuck in there. The idea is to hit the outside of it with a hammer to shock it out. It looks a bit brutal, and this one was bloody tight, so it took some whacking, but it did eventually come out. It's a good, sharp, strong hit. Rather than just tapping it and tapping it, you'll do more damage. All right. That with the old, in with the new, wherever I put it. Oh, there it is. Okay, so on closer inspection, it's completely missing the seal in the bottom of it. So, which at this point is a good thing, because it means that this will probably make a fairly big difference. Okay, you can go back in the car now. Don't over grease it. You can push the seal out. I learnt the hard way, as I do. But yeah, all good. We can put him back in. You can see a massive difference between the old and new here. I think it's definitely worthwhile. Then we'll go about adjusting steering box. Yes, I know this episode started off with getting a power steering pump, but I don't have all the bits for it. And we've got a daily Lance, because it's all about having a daily driver. So we'll get these parts replaced, adjust the steering box, then we'll replace the steering box later on down the track. This is the beauty of having something like this in the shed for, you know, someone that's not a full-time mechanic and knows everything about these things. I just walk over here, have a look at this box. I've got a fairly good idea how you adjust them, and yes, this is something that has been overlooked big time. This should have been done ages ago, but we're doing it anyway nonetheless. So I'll get in, have a look, make sure I know how to do this before I go diving into an engine bay with full body panels around it. This is so much easier. So we've got a 19mm nut around the outside of a shaft with a flathead screwdriver hole that you just wind in to tighten the box up. Generally these things, again, they'll be loose in the middle. They get tighter as they go out to the edges because they're less worn. So we'll just go sort of halfway in between. We don't want to take all the slack out, because once you go to turn a corner again, it'll tighten up. But it is that simple, and I really should have done this a long time ago. Righto, so we've been out and about in Lance testing that steering. It is a massive improvement. It has tightened up the steering. Look, it's not overly easy still. It's no power steering, obviously. We will get to that with a Hilux LN106 box, which we have started to track down. I think I've got hold of one. and then we'll go about trying to get that Holden Astra pump to mate with that box. And look, this is just second-hand sort of knowledge that I'm getting off the internet that this can be done. I haven't actually even tested that pump to see if it'll work, but we got it for free, and it's definitely worth the giving it a go anyway. And it means I don't have to put a pulley on the front of the motor to run an engine-driven pump, which seems so much simpler to me. Guys, a couple of things. We are selling the STS Garage shirts that we took to CLECS. Measure once, cut twice, as James so eloquently put it. It's really stuck with us. One mil?
That's it.
Holy.
It's gotta be measure once, cut twice.
Righto.
Measure once, cut twice.
Righto. You didn't realise at the time, but it really sums up STS Garage perfectly. Not that we're rough and don't care, but more the fact that we're willing to give things a go and not scared to just get in and, you know, if you make a mistake, you can always go back and fix it. So don't be that scared to have a go that you don't do it in the first place. And that's what STS Garage is all about. We're going to keep pushing on with that theme and learning as we go. So on that note, guys, don't forget, you only live once. Get out in the shed and get into that project, or do that maintenance you've been putting off like I have been. So see you next time.